This was my fastest marathon by 25 minutes. And I broke a 3-year plateau. And it had nothing to do with a new workout. It had everything to do with the person standing beside me at the end of the race. So this is week 6 of me training for my sub 130 half marathon. And I was able to run part of my long run with my marathon training partner. And it's been quite a while since we'd ran together, trained together. All right, just finished 14 miles. Whew, it's a pretty good workout. Did a little bit of threshold work. Running partner came up here and he was doing speed work, so I did a little bit with him in the middle of the run, and then I had a fast finish on the last 4 miles. And it really made me think and just reflect on the previous year and what actually changed, what happened that made me have that breakthrough performance. And it was just having an accountability partner and having him to be there and to run with. You know, it wasn't a new workout, a new massively different training plan. It wasn't a new super shoe, even though those do help. It was having somebody to be there with on a consistent basis. We usually train about twice a week together, usually our speed workout and our long runs. Easy runs, I really think you should mix up your easy runs. Sometimes wear headphones, vibe out that way. Sometimes, man, let it be that time of that you really think and just let you get in your headspace and go without headphones. So just a little mixture of everything, but having an accountability partner there to help you through those tough miles is massive. And you know, when you've set up an appointment or a meeting with somebody, for instance, like 5 a.m., we have run. When that alarm goes off, you're not going to snooze it. You're not going to skip out on it. Where if you didn't have that person waiting on you or that accountability partner, maybe you would. I've been there. I've trained alone, and it definitely is a higher likability of pushing that snooze and sleeping. And and then when it comes down to misery loves company, sharing the load when you're suffering is massive. And I really think that it doesn't make those hard miles easier, because there's always going to be that little whisper in your ear, in your head, you know, telling you to slow down, telling you to quit. But when you look over and your running partner's there, you know, fighting off his little inner critic, it makes it much more doable, because you don't want to let him down by slowing down, and he's doing the same. And there's days that you're going to have the better day and you're going to be excelling, and he's going to be trying to keep up with you, and you're going to be setting the pace, setting the tone, keeping everything going smoothly. And there's definitely other days where it's the exact opposite. It's not your best day, and your training partner is just knocking it out of the park, and you're keeping up. And it's just that energy, that bond that you get that just helps you grind through those miles. And then speaking of that bond that you get, you know, there's times when you're just talking while you're running. And, you know, you're definitely talking about workouts, your splits, what we need to do at this moment. You know, there's times where you're not talking, where it's just silent and you're just there together grinding. But there's also times that you talk about real life other than running. Talk about your family, your wife, your kids. You talk about your goals, your aspirations. You talk about work. And you bounce ideas off each other. Especially my running partner has 20 more years of life experience than I do. So I remember vividly talking to him about promotions and how he kind of went through that process of deciding when it was time for him to promote. So you get you build a bond and a relationship and camaraderie that you wouldn't get being alone. So if you're plateaued and you've been grinding and training and logging miles and you're just not getting any kind of improvement, maybe you don't need a different training plan. Maybe you don't need new super shoes. Maybe you don't need a new Garmin watch that tracks better, or all these gadgets that they come up with. Maybe you just need another, a human connection, another person to do those hard things with, because trying to accomplish these really hard goals alone, man, it's tough. And it makes it so much easier to be consistent when you have a training partner. And man, that consistency compounds, and it just really gets that momentum rolling the right way. And I also think that your standards rise whenever you're working with somebody. You can bounce ideas off each other, and then it's really hard to quit when you have somebody else right there with you struggling. And another huge thing is when you start doing these big, insane type of goals, or reaching and striding for these things that the normal person doesn't do, man, it really helps when you have somebody that is willing to, that's with you, because you don't think you're as crazy. You don't think you're that crazy because you got somebody trying to reach for the same goals as you. That actually ties into this week. So in this week, I logged about 45 miles, a normal 1 speed workout, 1 long run, battling some back and hip tightness, and I had to adjust my training a little bit. I'm trying to show up to this race, and I'm switching my focus from being faster or speed related to durability. I have to show up there healthy to have a shot at this goal. Top end speed, I don't think, is just the absolute killer, but if I show up there with tight hips and back and not fresh, it's going to be almost impossible to do. So what I did was I adjusted my easy miles. I lowered my heart rate this week. And it's grueling because the pace is 30 to 45 seconds slower on the easy runs. So I want to see how that helps with my back and my hip tightness. Also this week, I feel 100% healthy from being sick, and thank the Lord, because that was absolutely miserable. And lastly, to John, man, I greatly appreciate your consistency, your flexibility, all the early mornings that you showed up that worked with my schedule. I appreciate the standard that you set, because good Lord knows I probably would have lowered mine without you. And man, I'm just forever grateful. And man, thank you, buddy. This year we got some big goals. Can't do it without you. We'll see you next week.